Let's finish. Let's get to this last point just for this episode.
Okay.
We'll make it what's going on right now is Diego Sanchez versus Donald Cerrone, because it's a good thing to talk about. Like, it's confirmed May 8th, Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Diego the Nightmare Sanchez. Now, we spoke about it at the beginning of this podcast, legends going away, and Diego Sanchez and Donald Cerrone is just another example of two legends, two pioneers of the sport. Diego Sanchez and his fight against Clay Guida was, like we said earlier, phenomenal. Donald Cerrone, he's lost quite a few fights recently, and
so he's on a 4-fight losing streak.
Yeah.
Let's be real, he's on 5 because his last fight against Nico Price, he lost to by decision, but he turned to a no contest because Nico tested positive for marijuana.
Yeah.
So let's be real. Cerrone's on his last. He's on the chopping block because he's on 5 fight losing streak. We've got Diego. He's bounced around a little bit, but I believe he's on is it 2 or 3? I think. Let me check. I believe he's on a 2 or 3.
They're just much more older now. They're way past their prime. They're just taking fights where they can. Cerrone's announced this is having one last run, and they're both fighting at welterweight, aren't they?
Yes. Now, the reason why I came back to the issue with Diego is I argued maybe a 2 or 3 fight losing streak, and the reason is I get it. He's technically on 1, but Michel Pereira, he defeated Pereira by DQ. It was an illegal knee. However, Michel was beating him that entire time. He should be on a 3-fight losing streak. All of those by most likely a decision. So Michael Chiesa, he lost to. I would argue he lost to Pereira, and then Jake Matthews, who lost to UFC 253. So it's chopping block for both boys. Diego Sanchez is going to lose. I think. I really think it's the end for him.
We like both of them, They're both, everything that they've done, but I feel like afterwards they both can sort of call it quits. We talked a lot about when should a fighter call it quits. But the thing is, no one wants to go out on a loss. No one wants to go out on a losing streak. I kind of feel like, if whoever wins could probably retire, then give them one more fight, and again, if they win that one, maybe they could retire, or it could be a case of both of them retiring together.
Yeah, someone's got to. I mean, unless it's a draw, but the probability of that happening is low. Most likely, someone's got to lose, and that person is retiring. That's a definite. Diego has already said this is probably going to be my last fight. I think Donald Cerrone is he's gonna smash him. I think Donald Cerrone likes to fight as often as he can. Which kind of, it's a good and bad thing. He's a very active fighter.
He's always ready.
He's always ready. He's always in great shape. However, he has a very relaxed approach when it comes to his fight camps. He doesn't always eat right. He drinks beer the entire time. He might slow it down a little bit, but he still drinks. He's
always doing crazy things that could injure him as well.
He drinks, I think, 5 out of 7 days a week. He's always drinking, but he's always training, right? So he's got a very relaxed approach, and it's a very flexible training program. I think that also works against Cerrone because he's such a damn fighter that he's willing to fight anyone, anytime, at either lightweight or welterweight. And it works against him because he fights some horrible matchups with very little time to produce a game plan. And he'll take any fight because that's just who he is. And it's rough because he gets difficult matchups. He gets difficult fights, difficult opponents. Stylistically, they don't always match up, and there's the issue of sometimes he has the nervous jitters. He ties Oliveira with the most performance of the night bonuses. Although he does perform on these lower fights, sometimes he doesn't fight to his full ability because he gets a little bit too nervous, a little bit too spooked by the big lights. So there's a lot of pressure on him versus Diego Sanchez. Certainly a risky fight. I just think he's going to beat Diego. Diego's far past his prime. I think his head coach is a fucking numpty.
Yeah.
I'm sure his coach has some things to offer. It's just he has no real credentials.
Yeah.
He has no real, like, he just does some weird stuff. So he was chasing Diego and his teammates around with a knife. It doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like we have more respect for people who know when it's time to go. Like, you don't like it when people overstay their welcome. And it's kind of hard for us to say because, we're just two podcasters. But, like, from a more objective standpoint, you know what I mean? And who are we to tell them what to do? But, like, there's just a little bit more respect that people have for others when they know it's time to go. You put your ego aside and you say, you know what, mate? I've lost quite a few fights recently. I think I've had enough. I think it's time to go. It's not about the next fight. It's not about It's not about the next fight. It's not about the going out on a high. It's about, in the future, where can I remember my kids' names? Is it worth it? Just for a few extra couple $1,000.
It's hard because they're both the definition of a fighter. I mean, Diego was the first UFC. I mean, I've watched MMA fights before, but there were other promotions. I think I watched a WEC fight at one point when I was a kid. But Diego Sanchez was the first UFC fighter I watched, and I was watching his highlight reels, and I was like, oh shit, the nightmare. He's the one that really got me into the UFC to start with. Now, my other issue with Diego is not just his age and the amount of wars he's gone through. It's that we started to see a dip in his performance after he lost the Jackson Wink Academy. Mm-hmm. And then he's moved on to be with this Joshua Fabia. And he's a weird bloke, and perhaps he does have something to offer. I just think with a lack of credentials, with a lack of MMA experience, I don't know why Diego moved from Jackson Wink to Joshua Fabia. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange. And I think, I don't know, it's so weird how Diego Sanchez